Good morning, happy Friday, and welcome back to another episode of Q&A Friday on Fly Fish University TV. Our mission, our purpose, shortening your fly fishing learning curve, bringing you a better sense of confidence, ultimately making fly fishing a lot more fun. Okay, fly fishing a lot more fun when you know, at least to some degree, what you're doing. That's why we're here. So today we've got 3 questions as per usual. If you're brand new here, I would love to say thank you so much for tuning in and welcome. My name is Jordan Ulrich, and we're just going to kick it off with question number 1. Question number 1 comes from Doug in Charlotte, North Carolina. It says, what is the best pair of waders that you can buy with money? Well, Doug, I can't tell you the best pair of waders you can buy with money, but I can tell you the best pair of waders I've ever bought with money. It's actually a pair of Simms G3. Well, they don't make the G3 with the zip anyways, but I went from the zippered wader to the non-zippered wader, and the reason for that is that when it's freezing cold, I can stick both my hands into the hand warmer pocket, not just one at a time, and get them separated by the zipper. So so far, I mean, I've had probably a dozen pairs, maybe closer to 20 pairs of waders. Some of them I've worn for very short periods of time. Some of them I've demoed. Some of them I've had for lengths of time. But I definitely would say that the Simms G3s, Simms is not paying me to tell you this, but they're probably the best waders I've ever had. Second best, not from a fashion standpoint, but from a durability standpoint, were an old pair of Dan Bailey. I don't know if Dan Bailey's still in business or not, but I had a pair of Dan Bailey lightweight waders eons ago. They were the same color as French's mustard. They didn't attract the ladies, but they were very, very solid, rock solid pair of waders. So yeah, anyways, I use Simms G3s. They're nice. They're cut a little bit slimmer. The ones that I have are the 2020 model. They're cut a little bit slimmer than the ones that I was wearing previously, but they're a great pair of waders. You're not really going to go wrong owning them. Okay, next up, Michelle in Portland. That's my sister's name, Michelle, so that's something that you guys have in common. You'll probably never meet. I don't even know if we'll ever meet. But anyways, she says, I've noticed that I usually have the best lake fishing the best fishing on lakes in the middle of the day. Why? That's a great question, because a lot of times we're taught like the early bird gets the worm theory, but for the most part, when you're lake fishing, unless we're fishing in the heat of summer, the middle of the day is typically your best fishing. Unless you're fishing like a caddis, traveling sedges, that's really good in the evening. But for the most part, lake fishing in the middle of the day is very good. Now, why? We have to understand why. Okay, so now I'm not a biologist. Okay, I'm not like some guru in this topic. But the photosynthesis. So basically, as the bottom of the lake is warming up, bugs are going to become more active. So this is why when we're fishing in chironomid fishing season in the springtime, typically the best fishing doesn't start until at least 10 a.m. A lot of days, 11 a.m., noon. Sometimes you'll sit there all day till noon. Well, it's because those fish don't really have a reason to come in and feed like crazy when there's nothing hatching. If you watched our last episode on fishing on big lakes, I talked about, a lot of times having the best success right in the middle of the day when I'm shore fishing, and that's because those fish don't really have a reason to come into the shoals, come into the shallows and feed when there's no bugs, right? But as soon as those bugs start popping, it's go time. Now, of course, that's not a hard and fast rule. There's a lot of times when morning might be the best or evening might be the best. All depends on the time of year. But I can tell you for sure that at the middle of the day, lake fishing a lot of times is the most productive time of day, especially in the fall. Okay, when it starts getting cold outside, a lot of times you have some pretty short windows between like 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that's usually where you're going to find most of your feeding activity. Once the sun starts going down a little bit, and it does quite early in the fall, you'll find fish will slow down a little bit as you transition into the evening. Okay, Logan from Burnaby, last question. Logan from Burnaby asks, what is the purpose of a double anchor system on a John boat? Well, that's a good question, Logan, and I would say that I probably wouldn't go fishing from my John boat with only one anchor. And the reason for that, unless you're fishing in current, okay, I'm assuming that this question has to do with lake fishing, because most of the time when we're fishing from a John boat is on a lake. Definitely, when you have those 2 anchors down, it assures you that the stern is not going to be, if you have one anchor at the bow, it assures you that the stern's not going to be swinging around all the time. So let's say you're fishing with strike indicators in 20 feet of water, and you get your indicators out and your flies are sinking, and then all of a sudden the wind picks up and it blows you in a circle. Okay, well the problem with that is that your flies have just got down where they need to be. Now you've got to pick them up and recast them, right? Now the wind can still be a huge pain even when you have your double anchor system set up, but you really want both ends of the boat to be anchored. That's really, really critical. It's very, very important. Okay, so there's a little formula that I came up with years ago that if you're wondering how heavy of anchors you want on your boat, typically I find that approximately the length of the boat times 1.25 is usually about how heavy of anchors I will put on my boat. It's better to err on the heavy side than on the light side. There's nothing worse than getting blown off your anchor. It's a painful experience. Very, very frustrating. Now, one parting note before we leave is that time is now running out. It was running out before, now it's running out even more. To sign up for the Fly Fishing Accelerator workshop coming up March 23rd, 24th, 25th, if you want to make 2021 the best season that you've had on the water, I would suggest that you do this because it's free and it costs you nothing, but you will benefit from it greatly. I'm going to be teaching this event live, virtual, just like this. If you can't make it, you will get the recorded versions after, but no Q&A feature. The Q&A feature is a lot of fun sometimes. We're going to be talking, night one, we're talking all about equipment. Night two, we're talking all about fly selection, choosing flies that catch fish, but why? Understanding when you tie the fly on the end of your leader, why am I tying this on? Not just, I hope this works. The third lesson, I'm going to give you 21 actionable tips, steps, strategies that are going to help you on the water this coming season, and I'm so excited about it. So you can go to flyfishuniversity.com/accelerator. You can register there. Like I said, it's completely free. We do have a limit because there's going to be a lot of live teaching. We do have a limit on the amount of people that come into this. So I will see you on Wednesday's episode of Fly Fish University TV, and until then, I really hope that you stay safe, and secondly, I hope you go fishing. Thank you, and have a great rest of your weekend.